Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a podcast focused on benefit auctions and fundraising events for the nonprofit community. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. Let's do it. Here it is, episode number 35.
And here we are at the Festival of Trees selling raffle drawing tickets to passersby. Yes. Oh, no, we're on film. Hang on. We'll get to you later. Around back is where the ticket rolls are.
That's right.
$5 each.
$5 each. Or 3 for $40.
Hey!
But the candy canes are complimentary, so don't you worry.
Oh, man.
I'm Shelby Stokes.
I'm Kelly Schoenfeld.
Hey, Polly Schinfeld here.
And here we are.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays is right. We got through Thanksgiving. We survived. We are thankful for everyone and everyone. And now, tree
Festivals.
season.
Trees. Look at these beautiful trees back here.
So
Look at
many
those.
trees.
It's almost like we're live and we're there. It feels so...
But it does look like we're a raffle station, doesn't it?
We are.
Yeah, where's my clipboard?
Shouldn't you be dressed like an elf?
No.
Yeah.
No. I'll be Frankenstein, you be Tonto, and you be Tarzan.
You're pretty good. We're caroling. We're caroling.
We're caroling.
We had some
SNL
shows
style.
this last weekend.
We did.
We did have some shows. Paul was at a local nonprofit. They were raising money 6 months after they raised money before, so that was pretty good. He had like a Black Friday sale.
We did. We had a Black Friday sale, yeah.
Deals.
And it went good.
I was going to say, were there a lot of deals, which is what we typically don't want at a charity auction. We want the opposite of a deal.
For those of you following along attentively, and I know many of you are,
No, you're not.
this
It's
is the Hunt Club.
Ooh, yes. She's a hunter.
They did an event last May, and it was so successful, we thought, let's do another one. And they're a fun group, man.
I'm sure they are.
They really are fun. Oh, I knew that was going to get her. I knew it. I teed it up. I teed it up. 7 items, fun to need, 130 people. Super fun night. You know, it was a little bumpy at first, just trying to figure out, who's in charge, but...
Are you okay?
He's lost it.
It's been a long year. It's fine. We're not going to edit this either. This is real, and this is real.
That's right. So, things went very well at the Hunt Club. We had a team of 3 or 4 people there.
Yep.
And it was a little bit of chaos. There was quite a few members on the board who were very they wanted to see things through, and I think that all of those people coming together the day after Thanksgiving caused a little bit of craziness.
Yeah, we were just trying to figure out who's the end all be all in charge. And sometimes, you may run into that similar situations where you have difference of opinion with people, but and we knew this going in that it was going to be a bit of a challenge. So I think that we navigated our way through it the best we could. The reason why they hired us was to make the decisions, and I changed up the timeline to where I thought it was going to be better, and I'm glad I did, and I'm confident that it was the right choice. Otherwise,
Good.
we'd probably still be there selling.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Well, I mean, having a fundraiser a couple of days after Thanksgiving isn't very common, but it does happen. And where it happens most often are with Festival of Trees events. That's really normally all we see on the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's not unheard of, like as you had an event, but we are in Festival of Trees season. That's kind of what we're going to cover today. I know you spoke a little bit about your event last week in regards to a Festival of Trees. You kind of kicked off the season for us, anything you want to launch into?
Yeah,
before
you
we
know
start
what?
Describing them?
It was a magical evening, and it was one of those opportunities that Mark and I just got to hang on to the reins, and the cart was just taking us into crazy, crazy places. And we sold a tree for $371,000. Now, we didn't sell the tree. We sold what was behind the tree. A 16-year-old girl committed suicide, and this community has come together and finally said, no more. We're not doing this anymore. Mental health is a real thing. We need to get everybody help easily and quickly and get rid of the stigma. And I think that rang, and in everybody's head it resonated. We had grandparents in the room. We had parents in the room. We all have been affected by that. We all know someone that has made that choice out of that place of darkness. And this tree represented that handout. That community said, this is just a start, but this shows you people out there struggling with mental illness that we give a crap, and we are here to help you. And boom, here's the money to get it started.
Yeah.
And it was magical, and we were along for the ride, and it had nothing to, my baby was going around the room. Just a minute, hang on, Kelly, okay, just a minute. This guy says, I want to give $127,000. This guy says, I'll give $127,000.
Wow.
Right? It's just bam, bam, bam. They sold the tree to the guy, and he gave it to the family that designed it.
Wow.
So
It was because
nobody
of
took
the
it
story
home.
behind it.
It was because of the story behind
So
it.
you
It
feel
was
like
incredible.
people were surprisingly behind this mission?
I
Were
think
you
that-
surprised by this?
I was surprised by that because the fair majority of the people in the room were my generation and older. And, you know, we have made grand mistakes in our generation and the one above us as to say if somebody's in trouble, what's not going, what do they got to bitch about? Oh, edit that.
Oh, quarter.
What do they
Put a
have
quarter
to
in the
fuss
quarter
about?
jar.
What is it? What is their problem? Look at their life. They should be happy. You're missing the boat. And this group of people finally said, we don't understand it, but we're done having it happen in our town.
Yeah.
So we need to start
Powerful.
fixing that. Yeah. Whether they agreed or disagreed with it, they knew it was there. They knew it was a problem. And they had had a huge increase in their particular state.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
it
And
was
some
wonderful.
of the funds were going to that part of the program, right?
All of the funds.
All the $371,000 from the tree is going to go to mental health
Yep.
programs.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's the mission right there, right?
Yep.
That is the mission.
That is the
Yeah, That is
mission.
the mission. That's what we're seeing that's what we see every year with the Festival of Trees type event, right? So essentially they're normally, almost always, partnered with a hospital or a conglomerate of hospitals, and they come together to fund one specific thought or idea or mission. Sometimes we've seen it as prenatal care for preemie babies. Sometimes it is COVID prevention, when we saw that get big a couple years ago. And in this time, they're focusing on mental health within this community.
Yeah.
But essentially what this becomes is it becomes a Christmas-focused event where you are essentially having people design trees that are paired with items, but they always go towards something in the community that is jarring and needs to be fixed, and it's normally healthcare adjacent.
Yep.
Right?
It is. And you're asking a lot of your designers when you're having them put these trees together. So you're asking them to come up with an idea. Chances are you've asked them back for the last 10 years, you know. So now there's a status piece within that, they've been asked back, this tree should go for this amount and that. Really educate your designers, which is difficult to do, and I know that. But share with them the idea of what the night is, and if you need to share with all of them the Fund a Need video, do it. Email it to them. Let them see the Fund a Need video and say, your tree's purpose tonight is to raise money for what you watched. And so be mindful of that. What would you buy in a tree? Not how beautiful is my tree, but what would make you purchase a tree? Ask that of the designer, and yeah.
And I think that theme is why we've seen these Festival of Trees events work so well. You know, they're uniting under a theme. Very often it's tied to the mission, but also each one of these trees that are designed specifically have a theme, right? It could be a Hawaiian-based tree or a Barbie-based tree or whatever the case may be. But what I've seen or what I've witnessed in the 10-plus closer to 20 years of doing Festival of Trees events, is that the theme over the stuff. In other words, 20 years ago, you'd see a big tree with all these cool knickknacks and gifts and tangibles underneath it, and that's why you would buy the tree. Anymore, it feels like that is so secondary to why people are bidding and giving towards these trees. Like if it has a theme that's tree specific, that's really cool, you're going to get people to pay. If it ties into the overall mission of the room, I think it's the most powerful tree in the room.
Yeah.
There's one event that I do that they focus on, there's 20 trees, and 10 of them are probably on the higher end, and they focus on putting trips into those. Like one will be a Mexico themed tree, and they'll have a trip to Puerto Vallarta or something on there. Or one will be a Hawaii themed Christmas tree, and they'll have a trip to Hawaii. So consider that. You don't want to put a travel item in every single one, because then I think you're flooding the market. But that could be for this particular event, that is one way to attract the donors to this item. It looks great, it looks beautiful, and all the little small goodies and the coolers and the tents and all that stuff's really cool, but it's also got a trip.
Yeah.
It could be a trip to Whitefish Mountain. It could be, stay a week up there. So that is the draw for this particular event. But again, it's items that are broad appeal. You can take that same philosophy of a normal live auction, and you can apply it to these trees.
Yeah.
And as with anything else, you can overdo it with too many trips.
Agreed. I think that one of the biggest draws of this style of fundraising is, we're talking about it from the auction aspect specifically. This tree raised X amount of dollars. This is what makes a good item on a tree. But we've seen what a lot of these organizations choose to do in this format is they'll blow it out to 2 or 3 days where patrons can come in and make a donation and preview the trees. And because it's taking place shortly after Thanksgiving, it's the perfect time of the year where you're getting into the Christmas spirit coming out of the fall. So it no longer becomes just a fundraising auction. It now becomes a 3 to 4 day fundraising event, right? Where you can invite people in. Okay, we're going to have potential bidders coming on Monday and look at the different items that we have on display. Or you can just allow anybody to come in and make a donation and preview the trees. Sell cocoa, sell gingerbread men, whatever the case may be. But it can be a fundraiser that lasts a week rather than one day.
Yeah, and you could even do, you could have a drawing, but not a drawing, an opportunity. But one thing that they did that I found was unique as heck is when you walked in the doors, there was a metal Christmas tree, and it was a cylinder. It was metal. And they had all these small lantern ornaments on this tree, and a raffle ticket connected to that ornament. And so they would they'd pick their ornament, they'd tear it off, they'd keep their number, and we'd write their name, or they'd write their name on the back of it, put it in a bag, and at the end of the night, they got to take that lantern home. Everybody did. Everybody took a lantern home.
And they were entered into a drawing?
And they were entered into a drawing.
That's the raffle
25,
ticket
and that's a
that they
raffle ticket, yeah. And they won a 4-day trip to a local spa and ranch, which is really a cool place. But my point here is that every time those people hang that ornament at their house or they set it on their desk at work, they're going to think of that. So think of that when you're putting your festival stuff together, that you want something for people to leave that night with.
Yeah.
That feel good, amazing piece. And then maybe you write down how much was raised that night and put it in there. We raised $1.5 million. Yeah. And the people can say, look at this, we got this, we were a part of that. Because you know what? $25 is a part of $1.5 million. Because without it, it'd be 1.4 whatever.
Math is fun.
Math is fun.
It's fun.
And I like your idea of talking about the week prior.
Right.
Because that's a good opportunity to have a silent auction open.
Great idea.
Because you could sell mini trees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not all your designers are going to, be awarded a live auction tree, but they could do the mini trees or wreaths, and you sell those silent style the week leading up while people are there viewing the trees. They can bid on the silent items, the small
and
trees.
do the raffle that way too. That way you could even say, you know what, we went to festival of whatever, and look at we got this ornament out there. We got to go next year. Eventually, 5 years they go. Year 6, they're like, we got to figure out how to get into this gala.
And also, invite Santa. at some point during
Yes.
that week.
Ooh.
Invite Santa. Santa photos, perfect plug in here.
It
Big
is,
time.
and it's a community builder. And communities are so sensitive right now.
But find the right Santa. You know what I
Find the
mean?
right
Just
Santa.
find the right
Don't
Santa.
Find
I'm
a
gonna leave it
Santa
at
that
that.
smells like meat and cheese and a recent cigarette. Hey kid, what do you want for Christmas? We don't need
Pink
that.
schnapps.
You know,
Yeah, is that schnapps on your best, Santa?
I think that you've heard us mention designers in this conversation multiple times, and what a designer is tasked with is putting together one of these trees and tying it all together. They are, in my opinion, some of the most underappreciated pieces to this style of fundraising because of the time and energy they're putting into this creation of a tree, a theme that will eventually be used to help raise money. Like, it is amazing how many designers we see do this out of the goodness of their heart. And what we found is, like, some of those designers have such a talent or eye for creating things and creating trees that they end up coming back year over year. And before you know it, you know that Sally Johnson's tree is going to
Yep.
bring the most money because she's the best designer in
But
the
here's
group.
what you do for
Yeah.
Sally Johnson. Sally Johnson, there's a picture of Sally Johnson in front of the tree that she decorated, and it's in a little plaque down below, and Sally Johnson tells the person looking at that tree why she chose to design a tree for this organization. So it's all those, this is my idea.
I like this.
This is
a-
my- this
it's
is
a
a
digital.
new-
Little
It's a
statement
digital.
on a
Yes, it's happening live right now. The idea is coming out.
Doing it live.
But, you know, and then why does Sally Johnson support this, you know? And you never know. She could say in there, my brother died of this and my sister fell off a roof. Oh, my God, you're going to want to buy Sally Johnson's tree.
Boy, I'm loving your examples today.
Aren't they so fantastic?
I will say, as a
like
company that helps put on and partners with people holding events like this, one of the most challenging things for us is sequencing these into a live auction. Trying to figure out which tree goes first, all the way to which tree goes last, is one of the most challenging sequencing calls and conversations we have all year long, because people are pouring their hearts and souls into these trees, and you got to choose what goes where. You know, our philosophy out of the gate is to try to set the market for those trees. So often it's like, okay, which one can we choose that will start to set the market at a place where it's going to make sense for the nonprofit to get the most leverage out of these beautiful pieces?
Right.
That's
And
challenging.
that is very challenging. And that's where all the information that you can give about the designer and what the thought behind the tree was it's makes it way easier, because you could have a very non-attractive tree bring a lot of money, and the most beautiful tree in the house bring a ton of money because of its looks. But if one is a story and one is not, one with a story typically at a gala will sell.
And you also got to find a way to convey that story.
Yes.
If they have read the sign or heard from the designer, great. But if it's your mission to kind of bring that attention to the story, you got to include that in the timeline. You're laying out, right? Which is why the sequencing can also be difficult, right? Paul, you were just trying to sequence one of these, and timeline was a huge issue, right?
Oh, huge,
Yeah.
huge. And there's another factor that I just thought of. I didn't bring it up earlier to you guys. Was you talk about return designers? We got some heat, not us as a company, but me and the client working in tandem together, because two of our designers from last year felt like their trees were in a bad spot.
Oh, ouch.
Ouch.
That's
Big
tough.
ouch,
Yeah.
right? And these are really, really impressive trees. In fact, every one of them is impressive. It's difficult to decide where to put which one's
Oh,
where.
yeah.
So I just asked her to ask these people, what are their ideas? Where do they want to be? What are their thoughts? And then we try to work around that.
Yep.
Also, what was very helpful was, as far as the sequencing was, are there designers that don't care? Those can be very useful for us too,
It's a great call.
right?
Yeah.
Because I always struggle which one to put last. Because that person's going to feel like, oh, I'm in a horrible spot because mine's last. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
The most important one, in my view, is the first one. If you're going to sell trees for an average of $5,000 to $10,000, you want that first one to sell for $5,000.
Right.
You're going to set the market for the rest of them. If the first one comes out of the gate and you get $1,250 or $1,750 for it, it's hard to lift up out of that.
Yeah, and I think like the difficulty here is, in a perfect world there would be no ego involved in it, right? Because the mood that's being set in that room with those trees is more than just the price tag that any one tree will bring, right? But so often we can get caught up in, oh, well, that tree brought 25,000 and that tree brought 200, right? And there you start trying to establish some sort of price tag on these trees, which is unfair. But I think the goal should be to just make an environment that is conducive for the nonprofit to make money. Whether that be people previewing trees and saying, man, I really liked that Lego tree. Too bad it only brought $200. But the impact that you may have on somebody's day is an intangible that will never be measured by that price point. So that's a difficult. It causes for many difficult scenarios.
It surely
and sequencing.
does.
And take that one step further, what we see at these Festival of Trees events is people redonating trees. So you go and you sell it, and then boom, we want to give it back. Can you sell it again? And then you sell it again, and before you know it, you've sold the same tree sometimes 5 times, which sounds ridiculous, but it happens.
It happens.
So now you try to carve out a timeline, and it gets a little difficult.
Right?
Have you guys, I know you haven't, we've only done a couple, but have you seen any upside down trees?
No.
I have.
So have we.
Well,
I thought it died and went away.
I think your picture.
Yeah.
Did you see one recently?
Yes.
Oh,
An
no, I haven't
upside
seen
down
one in
tree.
years.
An upside down tree. Yep, right there in the corner. You remember that was a hot thing?
Yes.
Probably like 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Sounds right. Yeah.
7, 8 years
maybe
ago,
more.
there was probably, yeah, it could be more.
Upside down tree. What
It
a
was an upside
concept.
down tree, that floating looking tree. And
Yeah, I
I
remember.
thought,
I remember now.
look, there's an upside down tree. So that was kind of cool. A little
And that
blast
little
from the
fad
past.
lasted, what, 1 or 2 years?
It did. It did. But,
It all comes back around.
It all
It'll
comes
come
back around. Just like, why are we wearing high-waisted pants, ladies?
Because mom
We
jeans
tried
are
to
back,
get rid of
baby. Back, baby.
Oh. High-waisted pants. My God.
Yeah, I know. We should do a high-waisted pants tree.
I would have so much fun with that.
Yeah, high-waisted skirt on the tree.
Oh.
A high-waisted skirt's a little different than high-waisted pants.
Well, the skirt. I meant the skirt that goes around the tree.
Oh.
I see where your head went. Yeah.
Watch Kelly's next episode, Tips and Answers.
Yeah.
Tips and answers. He said it. He said it. We're doing it.
We're not doing it. Other things to consider when putting together a festival of trees or going to one. We discussed like sequencing and timeline. Please, if you are attending one of these events, stick with it. Please stay till the end. There's a lot of inner working pieces, and it's hard to keep these timelines short. So if you stay longer, it's better for everyone. Other things to consider: who is going to be buying these trees? Right? I know that's something that you and I talked about at lunch a little bit. Was, you're really thinking, sometimes you're reverse engineering some of these trees with a buyer in mind.
You
right?
do. You have to, you got to know who in your community is coming and what they've done with it in the past. Is it a realtor that's buying it for their office? Is it a tractor company that's buying it for the local emergency room? Is it somebody that owns a 7-Eleven buying it for the library? So, you kind of, in a eloquent way, visit with your former buyers, because that's typically who's going to be.
Is it somebody that owns a gas station that wants to buy it, the office a tree?
The office a tree.
Maybe.
Send it.
Maybe.
No.
Also,
So that's happening a lot. A bank will go to the
These
gate,
people aren't taking these trees home and
and
putting them in their houses.
they're gonna a lot of them get donated to the kids hospital or the child's wing or
Nursing homes,
NICU or something like
yeah,
that,
anywhere to pizzazz it up. You know, very seldom do these trees come to people's homes. They usually go to. I mean, they do. I'm sure on occasion go to people's homes, but typically it's purchased so that it can be, because that's a lot of tree.
It's a lot of tree.
It is a lot of trees.
It's a lot of
tree,
tree, and
yeah.
so for them to wrap it up and deliver it, you need a lot of space. So.
Yeah, and we're seeing like very big entities come in and purchase some of these trees, right? Keep in
Oh,
mind
boy.
that these are partnered with the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's advantageous for companies or big businesses to come in and gain some notoriety in these different ballrooms. And we see
Yeah.
that play out quite a bit. But also, like, you also can consider the space of the tree, right?
You know something else to think about, though, boys? Hang with me on this. What if you get a list together of who bought those trees in the past.
Okay.
Those donors, those big ones.
Okay.
Right? And I know I'm going to land it. And when they buy it again this year, you quickly pull up because you're going to kind of know who bought it. Last year they spent this much, this much, this much, this much. We want to thank them for their continuing support.
Landed it!
Landed it!
Might be tough to do.
Can't say
but
thank you enough.
It's a heck of an idea.
You just can't say thank you enough,
No,
however you do
can't.
it. Right? However
Oh
you
my
do
gosh,
it.
these people bought a tree for the last 5 years and they've donated to.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, I'm so
Those people need to be recognized. If they're those kinds of businesses. Some people want to remain anonymous, and that's okay. We got to respect that too.
right, but you're already having that conversation with that person so that you can kind of target some of the trees to that a little bit. These trees have to be a little targeted,
Oh, very much so.
you
Yeah,
know.
very
So
much
once you know what your target is, then you can.
And
I
think that's-
did sell a tree that had a car in it once.
Whoa.
It was about
It was
six or
in the
s-
tree or was it next to the tree?
It was.
I want to be
See what you
specific.
did. Next to the
redwood.
tree. Yeah, it was a
It was a
cool
redwood.
looking a Mercedes kit car. It wasn't an original, but it was a kit car. But it was actual full size, fully functional automobile. $50,000. Donated it back, sold it again for $30,000.
Whoa. That's cool.
So the sky's the limit, folks. Really, you could have a tree that has a car in it.
That's right. Car trees.
Car trees.
Tree cars.
Upside down car trees.
Upside down car trees. That's Elon's next project is
Yeah.
upside down car trees. After he fixes Twitter. Big quotes there. Big quotes. Big quotes. Helping! But all in all, stay focused on your mission when putting together trees and putting together his events. We're going to stay on mission and wrap our Christmas tree episode here today. Hopefully you took something from it. If you have more questions regarding Christmas tree auctions or festivals of trees, feel free to reach out. But it's been cool to see the legacy of this fundraising style continue to work. I know there's nothing like walking into a festival of trees that puts me in the Christmas spirit. Like, this is how I get there.
It's
like,
the launch.
It's ready. I'm ready for a peppermint mocha after I get out of one of these auctions.
Yes, that's a
Yes.
very good point.
Candy canes for days.
You can't help
baby.
it walking in there. You're just inundated with holiday festivities and fun and all the whole image of
Yeah.
Christmas.
Of it.
Oh,
Just can't deny it.
can't deny it. We can't deny that we appreciate you very much. Thank you for listening to us and watching us. We're going to wrap this up. We have a video version on YouTube. If you're not watching there, follow us on the socials, Facebook, YouTube.
Do you have a
wherever.
voice call one or
No.
no?
A podcast?
Voice call.
Voice call.
Oh, call-in show?
We have a voice call. If you want to watch that.
Taking voicemails. Yeah, that's a wrap for this week, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, you guys, go out, be bold, be creative. Have a good holiday.
Hey, sit back and watch the magic. That's what really makes it worth it. Watch the magic happen.
And go do good.
Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Raffle tickets?
Raffle tickets,
Anyone?
anyone? Would
Raffle?
anybody
3 for 40.
3 for 40 or $5 each.
Would anybody like a candy cane?
Oh, I would like a candy cane.
You can only have a candy cane if you call me Santa's little helper.
I'm volunteering. How long do I have to be here?
You're gonna get paid in peppermint mochas.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.